you got? What you thinking, brother Roy?
Well, the word witchcraft, we have to when we speak about some dealing with sorceries, we talk about like in the Bible, we talk about sorceries and things of that nature. Uh, the word witchcraft, when we study Halloween, Halloween is a paganistic practice. Was brought about the goblins and witchcraft and all this type of stuff, but it was brought in by the European culture, and we trace it back go through slavery. That our forefathers, when they first got off, that was already here, and those who was brought here in 1619 amongst the so-called slave trade, the people had a tradition and a religious practice that they still had instilled in them that they was practicing, and that they were utilized to try to help them through their journey and whatnot. But the Europeans saw that this is one of their strong points in their rituals and whatnot, and they began to strip them of those rituals to keep them from practicing. But witchcraft within itself is a European witch. The word witch itself is a European origin and whatnot. That's when they celebrate Halloween. And you see all this spookism and this type of stuff that be pictures and stuff that be going on that is not revealed to the public and whatnot. Uh, I remember when I was living in Mississippi, my auntie, in McComb, Mississippi, I had an auntie named Lucille Patterson. And she used to always, I used to see her get up late at night. I used to look out the window and see her go out in the woods and come back. And she'd be out there for a long time. I used to wonder why she'd be out there all that time in the woods and whatnot. And she used to always collect pieces. It's certain type of wood that you could like pine. Pine has a certain element within it and whatnot. And you spoke about the urine that females use take from a baby diaper. Well, the diaper would have to be damp. The diaper would have to be damp. It wasn't the pool urine itself, because urine within itself have ammonia in it. This is true because I had my son's mother, rest in peace. Uh, she had a sister named Cynthia that used to have all these bumps on her face, and she used to have all these bumps and whatnot on her face and whatnot. And I used to always see her have a pamper. She'd take the baby pamper and put it on her face. I used to be like, ugh. I was young and kid and whatnot. I used to wonder why she do this. And I seen about a month later, her whole face was cleared up. And I asked my mother, and my mother was telling me that urine in itself has some type of ammonia or chemical in it that kills the bacteria in your face and whatnot. So that actually was a remedy that our African forefathers and whatnot used to use during slavery times and whatnot, and passed down and stuff of that nature. But I'm not that deep into what they call voodooism and whatnot down in Louisiana that they practice and whatnot. But it's a lot of the stuff that was misused and became more of more for economic practice on people. But the practice itself is some truth. It's some truth to the practice of it and whatnot.
Okay, so with that, I want to ask you. excuse me. I want to ask you with that. Do you think that witchcraft was passed down from slavery? You know, was it something that was practiced by slaves and migrated on down, or I mean, where do you think it originally came from?
Like I said, I don't think our forefathers, I don't think our people called it witchcraft. Witchcraft was like I think down Salem, North Carolina, Salem, somewhere they had a thing during the time when the Europeans first came up here, up in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, uh, they had a thing where they was killing anybody that practiced witchcraft, like the European females that was practicing witchcraft and whatnot. Uh, I don't think it was our forefathers and our ancestors practice was called witchcraft. It was called, I don't know the proper terminology what they call it and whatnot. But in terms of the European version of witchcraft, that come from them. They for the Irish, the Dutch, and all them that practice that like that stuff. I read a book. I forgot, I can't think of the name of it, but all that stuff made the throwing salt over your back if you step on the crack, throw salt and all that stuff over your back. All that stuff was like paganism stuff. Uh, Things of that nature. So I don't know how the witchcraft got handed down to our forefathers and whatnot. I think some of them might have picked up from the European practice. Our European took the practice of our forefathers and whatnot and instituted their own way of doing things. The reading of the cards, I forgot what they called it.
Tarot cards.
tarot cards. I try a lot of things out of the Bible because they say that Moses was taught all the wisdom of the Egyptians and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember when Moses went amongst the Pharaoh, he had to go against they how you say it, serpentes or they sorcerers and whatnot.
Sorcerers.
And whatnot. So if they threw down something and presented some form of a snake, which is symbolic, Moses was given the signs of how to outdo them and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So that within itself tells me that during the ancient time of Egyptian, with a lot of science and medicine was taught that Moses was given this. He was given this science about the 12 sciences of ancient Kemet at that time, how to go deal with the sorcerers that Pharaoh had that they would use to deceive the people and keep the people in control and whatnot. So Moses was able to use his wisdom to outdo them. So I don't know where the practice of this witchcraft come from that they call witchcraft today.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. How much do you know about King Solomon?
Well, only portions of that King Solomon supposed to have been one of the wisest men of that ever time, and of that ever time for being most wisest man at that ever time and whatnot. Had strength. His strength is supposed to come through his hair, which I can't go into details of what they're translating to, what the hair represents and stuff of that nature.
Okay, well, from my understanding, King Solomon had magic powers and he had a certain ring. And that's what goes off into alchemy and books like Harry Potter and all of that. They tell you in those books that all of that came from King Solomon. They had a show out called Indiana Jones, and it was called Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom. They had quite a few. But if you ever sit down and watch those movies, they tell you about King Solomon and certain jewels and things that he had, like that ring, for instance. That ring was whoever wore that ring supposed to have the same powers as King Solomon and be able to do all sorts of sorcery and witchcraft and whatnot. And King Solomon plays a big part in that world. I've seen it myself. I've read about it. I've looked it up. The elixir, which is supposed to be uh, to conquer death, to live forever, and that's the whole goal of the alchemists and everybody that practices witchcraft. That's something that they supposed to been searching for, and until they find it, they call it the elixir of life. And until they find it, it's an ongoing search. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking as you were saying that. I was trying to make sure that Solomon is the one where we was talking about the cutting of the hair. I was just thinking, trying to make sure that was the same person.
Yeah.
But King Solomon had a temple, and a lot of that stuff derived from that temple. That's why they say King Solomon's temple. If you look and see how things were passed down, my personal belief was our people was spiritual, and they used their powers and what we know as today modern day witchcraft. Our people knew how to do that, and when the white people came along and took them, they pretty much, once their child got sick, let's say the slave master child got sick, and the maid out there, she know how to go in there and do whatever roots, whatever, and cure them, heal them.
Right.
So the whites said, "Hey, how y'all do that? Teach that to us." So they forced them to teach them that. So once they taught it to them, they wrote it down and had all the keys and all the knowledge. And I think it was taken from our people, and that's how they started using it. That's what I think. That's my personal belief.
Well, that's true because you look all this electricity and all this stuff. I was just watching a document last night about stolen science and stolen history of the blacks that was here in America. These black people that created the electricity and all this type of stuff. So
Black people kept created everything.
they created everything, and the sciences and the patterns and all the stuff was taken from and stolen from and whatnot. So, for Madison, I can't think of the brother's name. We take it from the brother Carver, George Washington Carver,
Okay.
the scientist himself, that took a peanut and made many things out of peanut and things like that. So it's no big thing of what the European thing. But this is my problem about us just picking up books and reading them and research and whatnot. I believe in order to fully understand our culture and our history and whatnot, we must take a trip back to the motherland itself. Brothers be talking about, I want to go to New York and party and all this, Hollywood and all this shit. And you trying to know yourself and find yourself. And most religions say know thyself. Most religious teachers know thyself. When you say know thyself, to know yourself as an individual. Who are you? How did you come about being a being and whatnot? In order for us to really understand who we are, we must travel back to the motherland itself. If we're going to study about ancient Kemet or what is known as Egypt, we must go there ourselves, just like the Europeans went over there. See, when he was smart, Alexander the Great was smart. They traveled to Egypt and studied. I can't think of the Greek philosopher's name that went over there and learned and studied all the science and whatnot. And then what did they do? They went back. Timbuktu was the greatest university on the earth. That was the greatest university on earth. All the science, medicine, everything was taught. Socrates, I think his name Plato, and all them went there and was educated by the pharaohs and whatnot. And they took this stuff. But see, he was a wicked scientist. The European was a wicked scientist. He went over there with an intention to learn and study the science and then to conquer and destroy. This is why they shot the nose off the Phoenix over there. You understand? Because of it represented black people and whatnot. So they shot the nose off and whatnot. And they went over to Timbuktu, which had the greatest university. They destroyed all the books, destroyed all the library of books and science and whatnot. They were so that after they had, as you say, studied, got the science and whatnot, and took it back to Greece. But the only thing about it, when they took it, they couldn't understand it themselves. So what they did was they began to interject their already paganism with only the stuff that they could believe and comprehend and whatnot. And it got mixed up. This is why we come into the spookism of the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. That's the paganism religions that they study for whatnot, and all this stuff. See, when they say Paul, let me show you something, brother. And this dealing with all the witchcraft and everything. And this is how religious is mixed up with a lot of ceremonial practice of what they call witchcraft or Buddhism. You take the Catholic Church, the lighting of the candles and all this stuff that they have set up, and you study it, it's a form of double practice against our actual profile. When they say the Gentiles, when they be talking about Paul went amongst the Gentiles to teach them, we got to find out who was the Gentiles. The Gentile was the Greek people, European people that Paul went up to teach them about the practice of brother Esau, what we call Jesus, and his teachings and whatnot. So when Paul
you say Esau?
Esau, that's what we call
Esau is the white people though.
No, Esau is Arabic word for Jesus. It's Arabic. You talking about Esau, the one of the descendants of Jacob.
Okay, yeah, right. So
when Paul went there, he began. This is why, if you notice in the Bible, they speak about a brother named Barnabas, who was part of Paul. Barnabas was part of the clique that was with Paul and whatnot. They were spreading the word that Jesus taught. But if you notice in the Bible, they don't speak about Barnabas. They say he separated from Paul because Paul began to not teach the word of Jesus and whatnot. Yes, so he began to add stuff. In order to bring people into something that you're trying to teach them, you have to add some of their belief into it. this is how religion get mixed up with paganism and stuff like that. So going back to the stuff of
So he didn't teach. So he didn't teach the original way that it was supposed to be.
no,
He added stuff into
added
it
stuff
to appeal to the people to get them to
convert,
Okay.
whatnot, stuff of that nature. And you can read the book of Barnabas, and you see where he talk about it, whatnot. But when the European got hold of what they call Christianity, because the Catholic Empire, which was it's really the domain of Christianity, the Catholic Empire. You understand? You're not talking about Baptist, Protestant, all this stuff came afterwards. You understand?
Which got their power from the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire, exactly. The Pope, and what all them, the Roman Empire. The miracles that Jesus supposed to have done, the raising of the dead, taking a fish and turning into 1,000 and stuff. You could say this was form of witchcraft and whatnot. In some books I read and whatnot. But all this stuff is symbolic to my understanding and whatnot was symbolic because I don't believe there's nothing new on the sun that what man did he could do today. If he's in tune with his inner self and his higher self and his spirituality and his divine being. Because Jesus, he gave, God said he gave man the power to rule, to be domain over everything. My question is, if he gave that to man, be domain doing that every time, how does it stop? When does it stop? If he gave man to raise all this at that particular time when he created man, how did it stop? It don't stop. We just have got off our natural as a nation of people. We are enslaved because we follow we worship not our forefathers and our forefathers. We didn't carry out the tradition of our forefathers and whatnot. We chased out the paganism gods. If you go through the Bible, when they say the Israelites traveled through all these countries, Moabites, Allah would tell them, if you go amongst these people, not to do this and not to do that. Do not take on their ceremony and whatnot. Remain with your tradition, your practice, and your worship and whatnot. But they begin to go in. This is why so many curses were put on the Jews for so many years. If you notice, each time the Jews disobeyed Allah, there was a curse put on them for a certain period of time.
Okay, but the only ones that I seen that was cursed was the children of Israel.
That's what I'm saying. So the children of Israel, I'm saying.
And that comes from the law of Moses. That's because they didn't keep the law of Moses.
Right, they broke, and then after a period of time.
Yeah, but that's a set people.
Right, but I'm saying, brother.
If you got, so let's just say hypothetically, you got 144,000 of the children of Israel.
Right.
Everything that was talked about, all the curses and all of that, that's for them. Then you got the rest of the world. So the rest of the world ain't they not up under the same
laws and
circumstances, and because he told the children of Israel not to do this, to do this, to this.
Right, but what he was telling them, because the people that they was going amongst was already the people who was not, according to the Bible, which I don't believe has a scripture, because most of the Bible is written about black folks and whatnot, about black folks. But they was telling them that do not go among
the Gentiles.
No, not just the Gentiles.
You had Jews and you had Gentiles.
No, you had the Jews went amongst many nations of people. They went amongst the Moabites. They went amongst the Ammonites and all these the Hittites,
which are all Gentile nations.
No. Gentiles is European, brother. Gentile nations, European people, white people. This who when Jesus said he went amongst the Gentiles, and you look at the Gentiles who they are. Gentiles were European people.
Okay.
The Roman, see what we have to understand.
So wait, before you go there though. If you're saying that let's just push them over here for the side. Let's just push all the European people over here. And all the other tribes that you said that the children of Israel went around.
No.
Those people that they went around, they wasn't bound by those other laws.
Because of the fact that the Israelites was choosing, they was a chosen people they was a chosen people according to the prophet that came to them, that they was a chosen people amongst Abraham,
Isaac and Jacob.
Ishmael, and Isaac. See, that's Ishmael was by Sarah, Isaac was by Mustafa. Ishmael was by Hagar, and Isaac was by Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just like they try to tell you that Sarah gave Abraham Hagar, her maiden, her servant maiden, to go into her because she couldn't produce a child at that time. But what they don't tell you that Hagar was also Abraham's wife because he made her his wife. But they would make you think that Hagar and you got to be careful to teach because Hagar was of Egyptian. She was black. Which also make you think that Abraham wasn't black, but he was. So when, according to the Bible, they say that the covenant was made between Abraham and Isaac, his firstborn, but that wasn't his firstborn. Ishmael was his firstborn, but the Bible teaches that Isaac, the covenant was made between Abraham and Isaac, who he's supposed to try to sacrifice. Remember in the Bible, supposed to sacrifice his son?
Yeah, but you still not answering the question. Let's say me and you. Let's say that you are one of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
I'm not. The laws that was given are laws for you.
Right.
So what about me?
Okay, right there. Because what it's saying, brother, is that, you know, I say that.
All the stuff that you're not supposed to do, I can do. And not be punished.
No, because what he's saying is that what the Creator is saying, he said, I have chosen this. He said, for some reason, I've chosen you, this particular tribe. I've chosen the Israelite to be my chosen people, according to the Bible.
Right.
This one particular race of tribe of people is supposed to be the righteous people of the earth. Now,
right.
So what it's saying,
if God coming back for you, then because you're chosen, then how can I sit here and say, oh, he coming back for us?
Because you can't. Because according to the teachers of the way the Bible taught is that your tribe is a paganism tribe.
So I'm going to hell regardless.
You're going to hell because you worship not the one Creator. You worship other idol worship, and you're doing things that is not according with the supreme being way of life.
So I'm going to hell regardless.
Right. You going according to the teaching, you going to hell.
So I can't pray and ask for forgiveness and go to heaven.
That's why he said, if you change your ways. See, they teach you that the people that Moses went among to teach, if you study some quote unquote Afrocentric teaching, the people that Moses went to teach you was white people. Teach them that they were living a paganism life and whatnot. If they didn't get it right, they would be destroyed. Just like when Lot went up into Sodom and Gomorrah. When Lot went up into Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot come from a righteous tribe. Lot was a righteous man. And he was living in the city. This is where him and Abraham separated.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Abraham separated, and Lot went into the land. Lot took this part. Abraham said, you take this part of the land, and I'll take this part of the land. He was given so much stuff to survive, the horses, the donkeys, the cows, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And he went into Sodom and Gomorrah. But Sodom and Gomorrah was a wicked people.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I say that when God came to Lot, he said that he would destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot said, well, you have people in here that are good people. And God told him, show me 10 righteous men, or show me this many righteous people. And I would not, and he couldn't show them.
Mm-hmm.
So the wickedness came, and then say that the men came to Lot and asked Lot that they wanted to see the angels that had came to visit Lot. They wanted to have sex with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Lot said, no, I can give you my daughters and whatnot. And they still refuted that. So Allah took it and removed Lot from there, and the angel came and removed Lot, and they destroyed. So what I'm saying, brother, is that when a word, to get back on the subject about witchcraft and whatnot, when a word has been sent down by the Creator to a prophet to take to his people, amongst his people, because these people have been choosing the right people. I believe that we are the people that they speak of, that they speak about the 400 years of slavery and all that type of stuff. You can find no other nation of people on earth other than black people that fit that description in this modern day and time.
Yeah, but that's already known. That's not even a question or a debate. My thing is when you said, and I've been holding this for a long time to chime in on it. when you said that we need to go back to the motherland.
Right.
Well, what if I was born in the United States? What if I was born here?
It make no difference, brother. You got to go where your origins is. This your origin, brother. When you say chase your roots.
Okay,
roots,
okay,
when you chase your
but if I was born here,
you still got to chase
my
your
roots is here to me.
You still got to chase your roots. You still have to go, even though we say our people been here long before the Europeans came here, we have to still go chase our roots. We still have to go to the motherland.
I used to be one of those people that used to feel that way and felt like Africa, this and that, until I started researching and I seen that what we call African American and Africans are two different people.
There's no such thing as an African and an African American, period. See, that's what when you start thinking for stuff, know thyself. See, bro, this stuff is deep, man. We've been so fucked. I was listening to Pops today. We've been so fucked up in the head, brother. First of all, there's no such thing as African or African. We use that only as a political term. That the word African.
No, the people that live in Africa right now.
They don't call themselves African, brother. They don't identify themselves as African.
They living on that continent of Africa.
But they don't identify themselves as African.
They got a way of speaking. They got a way of religion. They got a this and that. I was born over here in America. I don't have that. So I'm saying you put me and one of them in the car. You don't. They're not. That's not the same.
If you trace your history back, brother, from let's say for instance, your grandmother, your great-father, let's say your great-great-grandfather origin started in Mississippi, and it came down from your great-grandfather from your great-great-grandfather to your great-grandfather to your grandfather. All the roots started in Mississippi. Okay, you can go and say, okay, well, I'm going to chase my roots back, starting with granddaddy to great-granddaddy to great-granddaddy. It's going to lead me, for example, to Macomb, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get there, I want to go study the name of folks, or the history of folks. Where do this tree trace me back to? It traced me all the way back to this European old man that owned my great-great-grandfather. And through my great-great-grandfather, I began to trace the history of who I am and how our tree began to spread out on the branch. And through that research, you kind of find out that, hey, man, my great-great-grandfather was part of the Black Cherokee Indian tribe. But I had a connection to that. So through that connection, you go study through the reservation on that and find out that, okay, my great-grandfather was married to a Black Cherokee and whatnot. So you can start your history from there and begin to understand, because in that research, just like the Seminoles, the Seminoles up in Florida, the Black Seminoles, they never talk about it. I just seen a documentary of them the other day. The Seminoles up in Florida. A lot of so-called.
But you still supposed to be showing me how we get to Africa. You stopped at the Indians.
Because anywhere it goes, your great-great-grandfather, even though he was born over here, his people still come from Africa. So if we're going to learn the history about all this stuff we're speaking about.
Show me how his people came from Africa.
Because how did he get here?
He was born here.
He was born here, but somebody brought him over here.
If he was born here, then nobody bring him over here.
Somebody brought, that's what I'm saying, brother. He came on, a lot of our forefathers came on the slave ship, brother.
It was only so many that came on a slave ship.
That's not true, brother.
Yes, it is.
Brother, if you go...
I just watched videos on it where they did the research on it.
Okay, listen, bro.
You know how many people that was born right here? That's why you think it's a whole book. I go upstairs and get it for you right now. It tells you America is Egypt.
Brother, but I just watched this brother named, he is called The House of Consciousness. Sometimes they have different brothers on there every day on the panel. They got a panel to discuss the same thing we discuss. For instance, remember how I say our job being a Moorish American? That's what I believe. We are the Moors and whatnot.
I understand that.
Okay.
All I'm telling you is all black people wasn't brought over here on no ships.
I know
that. And I can prove that
no,
to you.
I didn't say all black people brought over on the ship.
That's kind of what you just said.
No,
I just said when you went all the way back to my grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grand, and I said, what if he was born here? You said it couldn't have been. He had to be brought on a ship. No.
Okay. Let me check that. we understand, brother, that down through Peru, where they found all the stone heads and whatnot, it showed that African people was here a thousand years ago and whatnot, and things of that nature. Um, they say this is Africa. You're right. They say this is Africa because at one time the land was one, the whole earth was one. And we say that the original man, the original people begin in the motherland. So
Exactly.
who's to say that Africa, if they say the original people begin in the motherland, who's to say that Africa is the motherland? Well, the reason they say this, brother, because the oldest fossils that they found,
It's right here.
no, the oldest fossils that they found by a European by the name of, okay, him and his wife, they were archaeologists.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest fossils they found of a Negro man and a Negro woman found over in Africa, what is called Africa today. I forgot what particular part of Africa was, but the oldest fossil they found was his name was Leakey or something like that. The other oldest bones that they found was in Africa and whatnot. So that being said, and we go back and trace our roots, man, we gonna end up tracing a lot of our roots back to the motherland. I understand what you're saying there. What if my great grandfather wasn't born ever? He was born here on these shores over here. The thing is, then, if that's the case, then you have to begin your research from that and understand what your great grandfather, before he became a slave or was made a slave, what was he practicing and whatnot.